WWT presents Partner Spotlight.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Partner Spotlight brought to you by WWT Presents. My name is Derek Monahan, and I'm a technical solution architect within our Global Solutions and Architecture organization. I focus on AI and high-performance architectures here at WWT. One of the things that we're seeing is AI strategies are gaining traction in every industry we work in today. But WWT has found that not all of these projects are progressing at the same rate. So from where our experience working with clients, many of which are the largest, most inventive companies in the world, but almost none of them, we feel, I would contend, maybe are progressing quickly enough. And really it's to satisfy those executives and other leaders that we work with in integrating AI into their organization. So regardless of the pace of learning, utilizing Dell's Validated Designs for generative AI, we'll talk about those today. And there's more than just one generative AI validated design. We'll talk about how Dell approaches it, our thoughts and opinions on it. But these will help you reach your goals more quickly and also safely. We'll talk about responsible AI and also sustainability as well. But I have two fantastic guests with me today, and I'll briefly introduce them. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to start with Craig Allen, who's an AI solution architect with Dell Technologies. Craig has almost 40 years experience designing, building, and also delivering innovative IT solutions, and brings an incredible amount of insights from his enterprise IT leading engineering teams for companies like Citi and American Airlines. As well, one of my colleagues, fantastic architect, a principal solution architect at WWT, over 20 years under his belt here. He's been also a key part of developing and deploying WWT's, we call it the Advanced Technology Center, or ATC. But what's more exciting today, we're going to talk about where we've extended that ATC into the AI Proving Ground. He's also been an instrumental role in building out an AI Proving Ground environment. So Craig and Matt, thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, nice to be here.
Great to be here, Derek.
So guys, between the two of you, we're looking at a lot of experience, many, many years. We all three have probably 30 plus years of experience, and we're approaching, kind of a period in our time where I feel, AI may feel like new, but it's been around a while. WWT has been doing AI. And when I say doing, we've been from an AI research and development to deploying it from a data science perspective to building architectures for over 10 years. And I'm curious, though, from your perspective at Dell and also from Matt, your perspective at Worldwide, are there any lessons learned, over your career that, related to emerging technologies that should be applied to AI? Craig, I'm going to kind of touch on one thing, the concept of an AI platform. I know we've talked about this in the past. And could you explain what this is and kind of what this actually means?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges we have with artificial intelligence is getting out of the research in the lab and getting into production. These AI use cases will become business critical for a lot of organizations. And with that, you've got to provide the production level services that have resiliency, it has serviceability, sustainability, being able to do some amount of multi-tenancy from the various business units. And a lot of data science teams live in research environments where they're doing experiments, they're developing the models, but it's got to be serviced in production. And so that's where IT really needs to be able to shine and bring value to the organization, is being able to host these use cases for the business and having that hosting be reliable. And so this concept of production sometimes escapes the data science teams. And so having a platform that offers resiliency and manageability, I think is really important to host these use cases. And so you can create something from scratch, you can do your own research and create your own design, or you can take something that's already pre-created, pre-validated to really jumpstart or kickstart your production environment to host these use cases.
Yeah, Craig, that's incredible. And I'm personally excited about one of your recent, we'll talk about this later, of course. We'll go in further into detail on some of these different validated designs, but you have a new scalable architecture for RAG running, with NVIDIA's new microservices. So that's really accelerating that journey into the production environment, making it easier, quicker, also as a framework. Matt, I want to hear your thoughts though, before we go further. You have a lot of experience, just kind of curious what you're thinking and seeing from best practices.
No, yeah. As Craig put it, in our journey here at Worldwide, we've been handling AI type solutions, and it was more focused around outcomes, very specific use cases, whether computer vision, conventional AI that we touched on a number of times on these calls. But it's coming up the stack, and it's touching the organization more and more. It's being pushed out to every aspect of an organization. It's no longer just research and development that's looking at this technology, that's leveraging this technology. It's the entire organization. And the need for that platform to develop new AI solutions and strategies and then push those out to their end users to help drive data-driven decisions is becoming more and more important. And that's where, I mean, the platform, or even we can get into the AI factory, right? As we get into it, it's a suite of products, hardware, software developed to work together to help an organization drive their AI strategies, and also help the IT teams that are having to develop this and support this across an on-prem and edge and a cloud environment. It's incredibly difficult, and thank goodness we have a partner like Dell to help out with this stuff.
Yeah, that's a great point, Matt. You brought up AI factory, and we also term it practical AI, and I think processes is one area of and we won't go too far because we could get on these tangents, but I think it's all these things that really are how do we help our customers accelerate that journey and really help make it faster and easier, and also less risk. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I think risk is something that comes up quite often. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, so in this area of generative AI, where a system can generate or synthesize net new data, you really have to understand what the outcomes are going to be and what is that AI actually producing? And is it crossing any red lines in the areas of compliance or legal or ethical, concerns? And you really have to have your eyeballs on the output of that AI. Now, AI has a lot of promise, but there's a lot of risk. So you have to really start to weigh, is AI the right tool for the problem that you're trying to solve, right? So we have business challenges and business opportunities where AI may be appropriate, but at certain times it may not be appropriate. AIs are not known to, these generative AI models are not known to be highly accurate. So traditional AI, had a high degree of accuracy, but these large, versatile, giant models that we're seeing, have hallucinations, and the models don't know they're wrong when they're wrong. And so some of these models are only, 80%, accurate. So is it okay for the model to be wrong 1 out of 5 times? So we really have to ascertain, is it the right tool for the problem that you're trying to solve?
Yeah, Craig, no, definitely. And I think there's a lot of techniques. We could spend a lot of time talking about that, but let's kind of focus, because fine tuning and training, there's different techniques that we work with our customers on. But as I mentioned in our intro, our clients feel like most of them are not moving fast enough. And the question to you guys, and I want to hear your perspective on this, is, what are the steps beyond AI readiness, or that framework we talked about, that will help our viewers get moving with real tangible work in the AI space? Matt, I don't know if your thoughts.
Right. No, so I'll take that one first. Yeah. I think first it starts with educating the end user. So we're developing, as Craig put in, as we spoke about, we're developing some really great technology out there, and we're bringing it out to the masses at each organization. And as Craig touched on, hallucination is a real thing, and we have to go back into don't always believe what you read just because something told it to you. They have to go back and they have to take a look at the sources. And I think that's where Worldwide started, is before we granted access out to our own GPT solution, we made sure that our end users took a look at something called an AI driver's license to help educate it and make aware. It's a great, fun world we live in, and we're making data accessible to many more than we ever did in the past. But it's letting them understand as well, is the data that they're getting back, is that predictive analytics answer that they're getting from this model, is it truly correct? Or is it making up what it finds out? And I think Craig hit on a great topic there, is like, how do we make sure how do we make sure we build the right technology that has the right data, right? That's giving the right outcomes at a percentage over 60, 70% correct, but it has to be 80, 90%. But we also have to train our end users to not just blindly trust the data. And I think that's where your security framework comes into play here, is making sure that we're using the right data, helping get that right data to to the right models that are people that are integrating with or working with or the inference portions we call it in the AI world, so that when they do get their answers, it's a more correct answer. And I think that's where I think we need to focus a little bit on our organizations, right?
Yeah, Matt, would definitely agree. Craig, your thoughts here on this? Is what kind of steps beyond AI readiness do you think we can get some real, real tangible work in the AI space moving?
Yeah, so in order to host these models in these use cases, and it's always more than one use case, it's going to be a whole portfolio of use cases that an organization will be using AI for, is having a platform, an AI platform that includes not only the technology, but the processes associated with that, the people, the training, and the data associated with that. So data has to be curated before it's fed to an AI to make sure that the data is relevant and valid. So you can go do all this stuff with open source. You can go pull down whatever you want off the internet and create your own architecture. And we have some organizations doing that. But it's better and easier to get something that was pre-made, pre-validated, pre-created that you could just go implement. Because the technology is one thing. It's actual, you need to focus your resources on the use cases. That's the business challenge or business opportunity that you need to go solve. That's actually the more difficult part of the equation, is working with the business units, working with the lines of business, and really seeing, is AI the appropriate tool? And if it is, how are you going to go implement that to solve that business case? The technology, you don't necessarily need to spend all your time there. That's something that you should use to consume rather than develop.
Yeah, Craig, no, that's awesome. I like the idea of the AI platform, and I think you hit on AI use cases, and we think about it the same way. I think at Worldwide, we think about the outcomes, right? And we don't just build an AI platform and then go figure out, okay, how do we want to leverage it? I think that happened in many cases. We saw that with the cloud. Things started migrating to the cloud, but there was really no particular strategy. All of a sudden, infrastructure starts appearing, and a lot of customers were like, now, how do we, what do we want to leverage it for? So this is the approach that we think about, and I think if I look at an AI platform, and you guys work with reference architectures every single day, there's so many components to this. I mean, you have the applications, you have things like RAG to use as from a perspective of using it for fine tuning and helping provide that accuracy, and also real time data and up to date information. But also you have vector databases, and you have all these things that are involved with this. So I want to hear from you guys, like, okay, so what is the value? Like, Dell has taken this validated design approach, Craig, and you guys have done some amazing examples in the past. I can see, from my experience working in VDI, we have a large HPC practice and experts in that. You guys have one validated design and also in data analytics historically, but now you have a validated design on AI. So what's the value of these validated designs? What goes into creating these architectures? Craig, I want to hear your thoughts there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to artificial intelligence, anywhere from the training environment to the fine tuning environments to the production inferencing environment to the retrieval augmented generation environment. And all of these environments have a lot of different pieces, a lot of different cogs in that machine. And everyone has a version, every piece has a version coming from different vendors. Some is open source, some is closed source. And just doing that integration and all that engineering of all of those components, and then life cycling that, when one thing gets patched or one thing gets secured, how do all the other parts react to that? So you can do all that work yourself, or you can use the power of Dell and our engineering teams that are doing that consistently day in, day out. And what the engineering teams are doing is they're working with NVIDIAs, they're working with the AMDs and the Intels, and they're coming together to have a consolidated platform where all the various parts and pieces have been tested together. They've been load tested, they've been validated, and both tech supports, Dell tech support and say NVIDIA tech support, are both aware of the validated design. So if you adopt the validated design, you're starting at a well-known point, and then you can grow from there. And when you call tech support and you say, hey, this is where I started, your support experience is going to be a lot better than if you kind of roll your own custom architecture.
Yeah. So I guess one question I have, and this is around, what type of path do our clients have using the Dell Validated Design in order to customize these generative AI models? So this is, again, according to their unique business objectives and use cases that we talked about. So how should they be thinking about building on top of those designs? Matt, I'll kind of throw this at you.
So that I'll take that one. So again, let's go. Dell does a great job, and they do an incredible amount of work working with the different partners of the ecosystem. So I love what they're doing with the NVIDIAs of the world, what they're doing with the Intels of the world, what they're doing with the AMD of the world. But I don't want to call it short. They're doing some great work with all the ISVs of the world as well, right? There's a lot that has to go into it. To me, the software is what brings the whole solution together. And they have a suite of products out there. And I think I want to hit on the options. Like we hit on accelerator for one portion of it, right? So no bigger, badder, and GPU out there than the NVIDIA GPU, right? But Intel and AMD make solutions as well in this space, and customers can leverage a Dell platform to take a look at different options that are out there in the market today, but they can also take a look at that from the software standpoint. So from the ML platform or the ML ops platform into the lifecycle management, I'm sure all the Dell individuals out there that love their Dell PowerEdge servers also really like the Open Enterprise Manager to help manage the libraries and drivers and firmware underneath the covers. And that still is a part of the reference architecture validated design when you go with Dell, so you don't have to learn something new. And then being able to trust that Dell has gone out there and has worked with we'll say the Red Hats of the world, or the Run AIs of the world, the Domino Data Labs of the world to build the platform layer on the top of it, and enabling them, even integrating with popular resources like Hugging Face, allowing the ability to go out there and bring secure models, whether it's a computer vision, whether it's a large language model, small language models like it's taking over, right? Or even building out their own RAG environments inside of it, being able to choose between a cluster that has heavy hitting H100 GPUs in it, or maybe I don't necessarily need a GPU in part of my cluster. And there's a lot of inference work and things that I can do just leveraging like an Intel processor that has a built-in AI accelerator. And again, that kind of touches on the sustainability standpoint that Dell has such a suite of products that enables an organization to take a look at the options that they have from a hardware and software, and then go design, leverage that reference design or that validated design to start building out the right solution for their organization.
Yeah, that's so. Craig, I want to tie this back to what Matt was just saying, and I think about this too. Is so when we look at these validated designs at the top, and Matt was pointing some of this out. So we have NVIDIA's case. We have NVIDIA's AI enterprise software. So these could be SDKs. These could be frameworks that are pre-built. And whether it's Intel or AMD, they're going to have their own, right? So this is really important to that perspective. It's not just the physical compute, storage, networking. There's other things that we have to factor in. Craig, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, it's definitely a layered cake. There's all the way from the hardware up through the orchestration layer, up through the command and control layer, and then to the APIs themselves. There's a lot of layers to this cake. And at each layer, there's specific software from these vendors, but then there are options for third-party ISV to come in and add value. What we're seeing is non-production environments and production environments. So in these non-production environments, you'll see typically a research or evaluation or development environment where a data scientist or a data science team is out trying to figure out which model that they want to use and developing code around that. And also in the non-production environment, you see this training or fine-tuning environment where you have these jobs that need to go against data to customize a model. And these are typically long-running jobs. And then we see a test environment. So from research into fine-tuning and training to test, and maybe that's very where you get a test result and you have to either go back to research or you have to go back to the training environment. And it's very iterative. But once the researcher or the data scientist is comfortable, then they will release that to production. And once they release that to production, that's an inferencing environment and a RAG environment. And in production, you expect all the production controls that you would expect. So from security to lifecycle management to even having SLAs or classes of service like gold, silver, and bronze. So production means something, and that's going to be servicing the business units. But we're also going to have multiple use cases running simultaneously from different business units. And so these will all become business critical at some point. So there's a lot of additional software beyond what the core three vendors are bringing. So these third-party ISVs like Run AI or Domino Data Labs bring a lot of value to building out that production environment.
No, that's great, Craig. So I'm going to hit you back, Craig, on this one, because I want to know from your perspective. We talked a little bit about a couple examples of Dell Validated Designs, one around inferencing, and there's kind of hinted at this, this one around microservices. Craig, what is the roadmap that you see for this Dell Validated Design approach?
Yeah, so the Dell Validated Design, or the DVD, it's a very rigorous and long process where they do quite a bit of testing and quite a bit of integration. It's about at least a 6-month process. So we currently have a validated design for a model customization, which is also called fine tuning. We have one for inferencing, and we have one for training, and those are with NVIDIA. We'll have these validated designs with AMD. But we also have a lighter weight process called the Dell reference design. The Dell reference design is a way to get an architecture out there. It might not have gone through the full rigorous demands that a validated design gets, but it's a way to get solutions out there quicker. So such as our RAG design with NVIDIA, which uses the NIMS microservices, that was that lighter weight process so we can get something out the door faster. Eventually, the reference design, the Dell reference design, will go through the validated design process. So we really have two different levels of documents out there. And as you read through them, you'll see that the validated designs are very thick documents with a lot of rigor around them, and the reference designs are lighter weight. And so we are working with all three major stacks. NVIDIA seems to have the most holistic solution today. So that's where we started. We are working with AMD, and we will have our AMD architectures out there fairly quickly. And then we're also working with NVIDIA. Sorry. Yeah, with Intel. Sorry.
With Intel. That makes sense. Hey, Matt, I would like to tie this back to our AI proving ground we talked about. And with your role in this effort, how do you see this? How do you see this strategy playing out with our AI proving ground? And I'm gonna bring up something called data center readiness and sustainability and scalability. Are customers asking about this and want to look at a Dell Validated Design to help them accelerate that journey?
100%. They want to see it brought to life, and that's the value that Worldwide brings to their partnership with Dell. They're enabling us on feels like a weekly basis, getting access to the latest and greatest that they're putting out there in front of our customers, working together with our engineering teams from both the hardware and the software standpoint, getting that enterprise storage connected into that compute environment, whether that compute environment is using heavy hitting H100 GPUs or whether we're bringing it back to a set of servers with just accelerators built into the processors. It's building a very dynamic environment based upon their testing that they've done inside of their data centers. And then we're enabled to bring that to our customers, allow them to test drive it, run a couple different types of models. So whether they're doing a tuning or training environment or whether they're doing inferencing, we can showcase that. We're even working with them to build some pre-built automated RAG solutions, allowing customers to go out there and deploy these of a couple of different sizes. And then along with that, what we've done in our AI proving ground is not only leverage their monitoring capabilities inside of their OME solution, but we're also connecting that into our smart cabinet. So then we're able to provide a customer true value and understanding that as they start leveraging the different components of a reference design or validated design from Dell, we can also give them almost performance per watt as they're going through that. Then they can go back and then plan for their facilities and making sure that it's not a surprise moment when they start bringing in, say, an XE9680 with 8 H100 GPUs in it, and suddenly now they need 6, 7, 8 kW of power just to run that machine. But we can help them scale that in a way in which they're using Power Edge servers with L40S GPUs in it, or using a different lightweight approach so they can scale as meets their demand from both the performance standpoint of their data scientists and end users are needing, but also from what their facilities can support as well. So that's where we're trying to add a little value to what Dell's brought to the table, is that how do we bring all the other aspects that we're being asked from a customer standpoint of how are they going to be ready for this whole new world of AI?
That's incredible. Yeah, Matt. So I know you personally have worked with customers, especially from a data center perspective, looking at the impact of power and cooling, as you mentioned, physical infrastructure. Especially, we have some customers trying to put 6 of these in a rack, and so it's all part of this holistic approach that we add the value. I think that we're looking at to help our customers size it appropriately, and also with the right, like you said, the right GPUs, CPUs, and other things that can go in there. So it's not just a one size fits all, and scalability. Customers want to see it, and they need to scale because the use cases will evolve. It's going to change, and they need to make sure that their environment evolves with it. And so I think that's one great thing about these Dell Validated Designs is they're modular. They're also very they're built to scale, and they're also. I want to get one last comment before we close this out. Optimization. I hear that word a lot, and I think that these solutions, these can be optimized for various use cases, but the performance optimization, that goes a part of it. Matt, would you agree? Like, we do some of that in our testing, that we validate this, that it is going to perform accordingly to the workloads that our customers are trying to build?
100%. We're being asked that again. That goes back into how Dell's working with their partners, right? We get the question like, hey, do I really require this GPU from this partner? Is there another option out there? I heard about this brand new accelerator that hit the market a couple months ago. How does that stand up? How does that perform against the market leader? Because I'm not sure I'll be able to support that. Our supply chain challenges have got me behind the 8 ball because I'm late to the game, and I have to do something more sooner than later, but I don't want to do the wrong things. And that's where we're working with Dell even to help validate some of the new up and coming accelerator solutions out there in the market today. We know that our customers are going to want best of breed. And we're out there, we're trying to make sure that they don't go do a science project, because it can turn into a very expensive science project, both from an out-of-pocket CapEx expenditure, but also on the OpEx side and what they're spending from electricity and power standpoint. They're not going to have the resources, the spare resources available to go out there and evaluate all these technologies. So having a great partner like Dell that's leading the industry with validating that sort of technology, and then what will happen is that it'll eventually get baked in, as you heard from Craig here, is that they're starting to already build that next level validated design with AMD, and we're already speaking with Dell around bringing the XE9680 in, building out that next validated design with those guys. We've already let them know we've been working with Intel on their Gaudi accelerator. We have Gaudi 2 in the house today. It just doesn't happen to be in a Dell wrapper just yet. So we're already working on that next level technology so that when Dell releases their validated design, we can once again add value to helping our customers understand all the aspects that it takes to bring together their data center modernization that will then support their brand new AI go-to-market strategy.
It makes complete sense, Matt. So Craig and Matt, we need to close this out, and I really appreciate your time. But I just want to summarize one last thing. And the way I'm taking this, the purpose of the Dell Validated Design, number one, is obviously to simplify and accelerate our customers' journey. It's also deployment. The deployment is key. You mentioned, the production, the challenge of moving a app or workload into production. That's we've heard all kinds of stats from 50 to 90% of workloads never make it. So we want to make that journey and that workload move from that test development into production by using these pre-configured validated solutions, honestly, that you're helping run these up, get up and run faster, but also with less risk. And that's going to be very important because customers don't want to take a risk when they're deploying these. They need to move fast and they don't want to have to start over. Guys, I really appreciate your help today. This has been fantastic conversation. I think this ends the episode for the Partner Spotlight today. I do want to thank both Craig and Matt really for taking time out of your busy schedule. This has been an important discussion. Really excited what we're doing with Dell and also in our AI Proving Ground. Also, thank you to our viewers who are tuned into this on WWT.com. If you want to learn more about Dell Validated Designs for WWT and Dell partnership, we have a partner section of our WWT.com website. with Dell. So we have lots of resources out there. We have also a link to our AI Proving Ground, and also a lot of Dell products and services that are shown there. So it'll showcase some of the things Matt and Craig have been talking about today in a framework perspective and what we've done in our own lab. But really, even a few additional Dell focused partner spotlights that are out there as well, we've done in the past that tie into this. We did one on use cases earlier or late in last 2023. So if you have any questions, feel reach out. Please ask any questions. And thanks again. We'll see you next time.